back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I uploaded, and I'm so excited to tell you guys this story because it's literally the most special story in my entire life that I'll probably ever tell. I mean, probably one of them, but like right now it's the most special. And you can tell by the title why that is, and I can't wait to share it with everybody because I've literally kept this story like so close to me because I've been wanting to make this video for 10 months now because my baby is 10 months old. I'll do like a little playback of my pregnancy and then we'll get into the good stuff, what you came here for. I had like a pretty like average, normal, whatever normal is when it comes to anything in life, but especially pregnancy. I didn't have like any like much for complications. When I was 20 weeks, they thought something was wrong with the baby's heart, but then it turned out to be fine when I went for further testing. And then I hit 30 weeks right after Christmas. It was actually on Christmas I got exposed to COVID, and this was in 2020 when I got exposed to COVID. And then in 2021 it carried over to 2021, like New Year's Eve going into 2021 was when I think I got my results that day or the day before, something like that. But anyways, I'm sorry for like the shadows. I don't have the best setup right now. It's actually pretty ghetto, but we'll work on it. And then I ended up in the hospital because I also had pneumonia, and they gave me the shots for the baby's lungs. And if you've had it, it's like, if you know, you know. It's literally probably the worst shot I've ever gotten in my entire life. Like, it hurts so bad because it goes into a muscle in your bum, and it's just not fun. And then I had my virtual baby shower, and then we did my maternity pictures, and we had virtual baby shower, and then the baby came. So I was due March 17th with her, and March 16th I had gone to my 40-week appointment that I had booked the week before, because after 36 weeks I was going in every day, and I don't know if that's normal for everybody, but that was normal at my office. So I mean, not every day, every week. And he told me, you know, at 39 weeks, if you don't have signs that I'm gonna be going into labor soon when I should be, we're gonna schedule an induction date. So I went in on March 16th, and he was like, I did not expect to see you. And I was like, I didn't expect to see you. Like, you think I still wanted to be here? Like, I wanted to get this done over with. It was my first time giving birth. Like, I was so anxious about it. I just wanted it done and over with. By the way, I loved my OB, so it was nothing against him. It was just pregnancy. I loved pregnancy, and I even didn't even really want to be done with it, but it was just the giving birth part. I was so nervous about it. March 16th, I went into it was my 40-week appointment technically, even though I was 39 weeks and 6 days. And I went in for my normal appointment, and they gave me an ultrasound. Baby looked fine. My fluids were all good. Like, everything was perfect. My blood pressure was good. There was no reason for them to keep me. So he was like, I'm just going to send you home. I'll give you an induction date. They gave me the induction date. It was March 23rd. And I don't remember what else the paper said, but I just remember it was March 23rd. I went home that night, and I was just chilling. I was like, damn. Like, tomorrow's my due date. We were like ready, like our hospital bag was ready, the car seat was installed. It just like the base was installed, the car seat itself wasn't in the car. I think we just like had to organize some more, and I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna do this stuff for now. Like, I don't have anything else to do. So I just like chilled out for a little bit. I was like, I'm just gonna chill. And then my boyfriend was on his video game because like that's his hobby, and I was just chilling. Like, I don't care, like, go do your thing, I'll do mine. And then like we would come together later on in the night, and I'm laying in bed, and then to skip some stuff, I had gone pee. Yeah, I went pee, and I saw blood, and I was like, that's not good. So I told my boyfriend I was gonna call the doctor, and it was like 2 a.m. at this point. They were gonna call me back, and I was a terrible sleeper. I'm still a terrible sleeper. I've never been a good sleeper in my entire life. I always am a night owl. So I was up, he was up. Like, that's us. That's how we are. And quarantine in 2020 made that even worse, and we couldn't fix it for ourselves, and ugh. So anyways, they call me back, and they're like, yeah, so since you're due today, why don't you come in, we'll check you out, you're probably gonna go home, and then we'll go from there. They just wanted to check the baby and check me and whatever. So, oh, I forgot to say, at my appointment that morning, I think it was a 1, we went in, we had to go through the ER at that point because the other entrances were all closed. So we go in through the ER, and like, oh my gosh, they're taking like forever to like fill out everything, and we're just standing there. And they're like, do you want a wheelchair? I was like, a wheelchair for what? Like, I'm fine, I'm just a whale. Like, I was huge when I was pregnant, just weren't sure if I was in pain or anything, but I was chilling, I was fine. And they bring me in the room until labor and delivery. And every time I would go to the hospital, and even now, I bring a backpack with me with like a charger and like some other stuff, and we had the bags in the car, like our hospital bags, our snack bag, we had that in the car just to, you know, be safe. So we had like some stuff with us. And so I go, I get changed, and then I didn't have much bleeding. I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, I went here for no reason. Like, I have no bleeding. Then the nurse hooks me up to the monitors, and then a little while later, I think it was a midwife came in, and she was like, you know, like the baby's heart rate dropped a little bit when you got hooked up to the monitors, so we're just gonna monitor you a little bit longer. And at this point, it was probably like 3 in the morning, and she's like, you'll probably be out of here by like daylight, you'll be fine. I was like, okay, perfect. She's like, I'm just gonna go ahead and check you. Oh my god, when she checked me, that was literally the worst feeling I felt in my entire life. Like, it was awful. And like, even like that morning when my guy OB had checked me, it didn't even hurt that bad. So I was like, girl, what are you doing to me? Like, why does that hurt so bad? She was like, yeah, you're at like a 3 or a 4. And I was like, what? So then they were like, yeah, we're just gonna monitor you. So they monitored me, and then the baby's heart rate was better. And then it was like 6 or 7 in the morning, and like a different doctor had came in because it was like change of shifts and everything, and he was like, well, the baby's heart rate is like messing up again or whatever it was, so we're just gonna continue to monitor you and hopefully she can stabilize. So it kept happening where she would stabilize and then she would go back down, stabilize and go back down. So they were like, since she can't stabilize herself, we're gonna go ahead and keep you. He was like, so we're gonna start you on Pitocin and then we'll just go from there. So they start me on Pitocin, and by the way, he had checked me again and I hadn't dilated anymore. At this point, it was probably about 8:30. I don't even remember like timing now, it's been so long, but I just remember that he checked me again and I hadn't dilated anymore. They keep coming in, they're like checking the monitors outside the room, they're coming in like 4 doctors at a time checking the monitors. He's like checking me still, like they just keep like changing everything up. They're rotating me. Oh, by the way, I forgot to include this part. If you're gonna start me on Pitocin, I want my epidural. And the doctor that I had when I first came in, I mean the nurse, she had stopped my IV because she was like, you're gonna be sent home, so I'm just gonna stop this. Like, they said you're good. They gave me like, I think a full bag of fluid. I can't remember. But then the next nurse that came in, she was like, well, if you want your epidural, you have to finish this whole bag. I was like, oh my god, like I just want my epidural. Like, I always heard how Pitocin contractions hurt, and I was like, ooh, like I just wanted my epidural as soon as possible, and it was getting bad. Like, I just remember the pains were just awful. I wanted to try to go naturally, but I had told myself if they gave me Pitocin, I was going to get an epidural. Like, there was no way around that. I was gonna get an epidural. It had been like hours at this point. It was like 1:30. The baby's still like going down, going up, going like good, bad, good, bad. And I was like, oh my gosh. So they're like giving me the peanut ball, and my epidural stopped working on my left side. Well, it was like never working on my left side. And the anesthesiologist, he's like, oh yeah, just tell the nurse, like your nurse has to rotate you in order for it to work. I think they said it goes by like gravity or something, I don't know. They rotate me, that doesn't help. I could still feel the contractions on my left side. I just remember like it just felt like my leg was like tightening so bad because it was like in my hip where I could feel it all, which is so weird. And I think in my back a little bit. But I do remember the pains being pretty bad. He checks me, I'm still at a 4. Checked my water and it was like about to burst, so he broke it. And I had meconium. If you know what meconium is, it's the baby's first poop, but she had pooped inside. They were like, yeah, we need to figure something out fast. Either you need to progress or we need to have a C-section. I was like, oh, and I was crying, and it was just so hard. Like, we were exhausted. We got maybe an hour or 2 of sleep while we were at the hospital. Yeah, at this point it's probably like 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had been there since 2 in the morning. I remember at one point I was trying to sleep and I woke up to them just putting an oxygen mask on me, and I'm like oxygen masks are awful. I don't know about anybody else, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm a hypochondriac, but it felt like I was suffocating, and I was like, I can't breathe with this on. They're like, you have to keep it on, the baby's heart rate's dropping, the baby needs it. And I was like, Okay, so I just did it and I was crying because I was like so uncomfortable. My boyfriend's exhausted. I was trying to wake him up so that I could have him for support, and he couldn't hear me, and I couldn't move much because my right leg was like dead and he's on my right side. So I like had to take the table and like shake it so he could hear me. They were going to try to put that pokey thing or whatever it is into her head, but they couldn't find the pieces to it. The nurses kept rotating me, like had me on my knees, had me on my side, every which way they had me, and like sitting up like this. And they even like got everything ready so that I could push her out, because I went from a 4 to an 8 so fast with the peanut ball. And still, like, all these doctors are coming in, like, watching the thing, and she's still just doing whatever she wants to do. It was just so much. Seeing all the doctors come in was like so scary and so stressful. I felt like that just made it worse on me. Instead of them like watching it out there, they're like, and I don't know. Finally, the doctor's like, yeah, we're gonna have to have a C-section. Like, she's not like stabilizing enough. You're not progressing enough. He got me all prepped. The anesthesiologist came back in, gave me the spinal tap. They gave my boyfriend all the stuff so he could get dressed. This makes me so emotional to talk about. Then they wheeled me away when my boyfriend got dressed, and the anesthesiologist is on my left side, and I'm talking to him. I remember, like, I was sobbing when they told me I had to have a C-section. Oh, it was the worst thing I could have ever heard in my entire life. I was like, no way. Like, this is not happening to me right now. Like, why do I have to have a C-section? Like, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Why do I have to have a C-section? Like, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Why do I have to have a C-section? Like, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? So the anesthesiologist, who was like, when we move you over to the operation table, do not move anything. Like, just let us do it. We're gonna move you, it'll be fine. He's like, you're gonna feel like you're falling. They like tilted me, and I was, mind you, I was on my back, so they like tilted me to my side, and like I'm just supposed to leave my arms out, but like, hello, I feel like I'm gonna fall off. Like, I felt like I was falling off a falling table. Like, that's exactly how I felt. When he did that, I like grabbed onto his arm. He was like, nope, don't move. And I was like, what? And I remember my legs felt like pieces of meat. When I had my epidural on this side, it felt like a piece of meat, and I was like, that's so weird. Like, I can't even, like, that's the only way I can describe it. It felt like I had a piece of meat on my legs. Like, when I would touch them, it felt like a piece of meat, because I could feel it, but like, I could feel the touch, but I couldn't feel the touch on my legs. It's just all over the place. I'm so sorry. It's just coming to me as I speak. And I told him, like, I have really bad anxiety. Like, I'm on anxiety medicine. I'm just very scared. And I was crying and crying and crying. And I remember, like, the nurses weren't doing anything to help me calm down. And I thought that was so fucked up. Like, you see that I'm nervous, you see that I'm scared, can you at least be like a little bit compassionate and caring for me? I got into the OR, and there was like the nicest nurse ever, and she was like talking to me. I think she asked me what I was having, what I was naming her. I don't know, it's just a big fog now. So then she went to go help like put the bed outside or something like that, like the bed that I was on, and her arm got like squished or something like that, and it was so sad. And then she couldn't be in the OR, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I really wanted her in there. And I remember hearing them count like the pieces, and then finally my boyfriend came in, and he was like, hello, gorgeous. And I was like, why are you talking to me like this right now? And it was just like so emotional, but it was like so intimate. And I remember feeling them like tugging on me a little bit, and my sister always told me, if you have a C-section, you feel them like tugging on you, you feel a lot of pressure. And yeah, I definitely felt that. The anesthesiologist, he's like, okay, she's almost here. How are you feeling? And I was like, I'm good. And I was just so emotional. And I get emotional every single time I think about it. My boyfriend and I are just like trying to talk. And then finally I was like, Bub, grab the phone. So he's like, oh, she's coming. Then the anesthesiologist was like, nope, give me the phone. No, anesthesiologist was more supportive than the nurses, by the way, which I thought was insane. He's like, give me the phone. You guys focus on your baby. And so every single time I talk about this, it makes me so emotional. And so then finally he was like, oh, here she is. And I felt them tugging her out, and I was like, my lungs. And they were like, no, they're just taking the baby out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like my lungs were being pulled out of my body. And then they held her up, and they had like pulled down the blue shield, and I saw her, and I was like, Abrielle. Why do I have to be so emotional? And it's like, Abrielle, hi baby girl. And I have a live photo from that day where you can literally hear me saying that, and I cry every single time I hear it. And yeah, she was born at 4:55 p.m. and I just like, she was just like crying and it was like, it just felt so surreal, because like when I went into the hospital, I didn't think I was gonna have a baby. Nobody, not even the nurses, thought that I was gonna leave there that night with a baby. And like people were like, congratulations, and we're like, thanks, but like we're gonna go home. Like, we're not gonna have a baby tonight. We're gonna go home and then we're gonna have the baby next week. Yeah, no, she had other plans for us. She was born right on her due date, March 17th. And it was like so crazy. Like, it was my grandmother's favorite holiday. And that nurse that had gotten hurt when she was trying to help me in the OR, I mean, when she was, I think she was taking the bed out. I can't really remember what she was doing, but I was like, oh, where is she? Like, I want her to meet the baby. And then nobody ever sent her to me. I remember I had a really good nurse in the postpartum unit. My nurse from the night before had come in and she was helping me get the baby to latch, and we got her to latch, but then like she was just like feeding for like too long, and I just needed to sleep. If I knew everything that I know now, then I probably would have tried it more. At that point, I was like, just get rid of the bottle. I was so mentally exhausted. My anxiety was so bad. My baby blues were so bad. I think it was just like the initial shock of like, oh my god, like I did not know I was gonna have a baby, and then now all of a sudden I have a baby. It was like 14-ish hours, maybe more than that, but it went by so fast at the same time, because I didn't think I was gonna have a baby, and then all of a sudden I have a baby. It's just crazy. Like, even though I was pregnant that whole time, it didn't feel real. Even though like that all happened to me, like I didn't have very bad postpartum depression. It was more like postpartum anxiety, but like I always have anxiety. Now she's 10 months old, and I would show her right now, but she's a little sick right now, so I don't want to be putting her on the camera while she's sick. She crawls, she says dada, sometimes she'll say mama. She blows kisses all the time. She waves hi, she waves bye. She loves to go pee, loves to dance. She tries to walk, but she's not like there yet, which is fine. It's no rush. Trust. Every single milestone that she makes, I cry. She likes to color, I cry. She took like a few steps one day, I cried. I just cry about everything, because it's just crazy how big she's gotten. And she's not even, she's huge. Like, she's such a big girl, and she's so loved, and I hope she never feels anything other than feeling so loved by at least her, me and her father. I mean, she has a huge family. Like, she has no reason to not feel loved. But Bobby, if you're watching this, just know mommy and daddy love you so much. You're probably not watching this, but maybe you'll see this in the future. Just know mommy and daddy love you so much, and you were so wanted, and you are still so loved and so wanted, and I don't want anybody to make you feel any less than. She has like the biggest personality. She thinks she's a little comedian. She loves to be like laughed at if she's doing something funny. She loves food. Yeah, I just don't want anybody to ever try to dull her shine, because trust me, if somebody tries to dull my baby's shine, mama bear's gonna come out. That's my labor and delivery story, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's a very special story to me. I mean, you can see why I got my stomach cut open to have my little baby here, and she's the most precious thing in the world. I mean, sometimes she's a little bit crazy. I call her cray cray, and I tell her, cray cray, you're going cray cray. She's so worth it, and she's so fun, and the best thing that's ever happened to us. Sorry for being an emotional little thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on my next video.